Accreditation Council, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And let me welcome you to the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, FDA Recognition and Accreditation Awards 2022. And this JANAAC Awards represents a marquee among annual events organized by the agency. But this year, it is especially significant. And that is because 4 laboratories will be recognized for their attainment of JANAAC accreditation under various scopes. And JANAAC, which is an agency of this ministry, has been approved by the United States Food and Drug Administration as an accreditation body under the FDA accredited third-party program. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a special awards event indeed. This ministry, the business ministry, as Minister aptly says frequently, remains proud of the work that our agencies continue to do in supporting our mission to create an enabling environment that grows and sustains industries, promotes investment, trade, and consumer protection. Since its founding in March 2007, JANAAC has provided accreditation services that enable conformity assessment bodies such as laboratories, inspection bodies, and certification bodies to demonstrate conformity with international principles for conformity assessment procedures. These procedures, established through various World Trade Organization agreements, promotes the free movement of goods and require that safety and quality of products be proven through transparent and reliable conformity assessment systems, thus eliminating barriers to trade. And the Minister, I am sure, will speak about the importance of exports for Jamaica to grow the Jamaican economy. And clearly, the work that JANAAC does is a very critical and important aspect of our whole export process. In light of their demonstrated conformance with requirements for the ISO IEC 17025 2017 standard, the Bureau of Standards, Jamaica Aggregates, Concrete and Masonry Units Laboratories, Energy Efficiency Testing and Cement Testing Laboratories were accredited on March 29th, April 6th, and June 1, respectively, confirming the technical competence and reliability of raw material, building materials, cement, and energy testing within related scope. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's a significant achievement, and I want to welcome you again to this Accreditation and Recognition Awards event under the theme Accreditation, Sustainability in Economic Growth and Environment. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Ms. Cassette Green, who is the Director of Strategic Planning, Business Development, and Promotions with JANAAC, to offer prayers. Ms. Green. Sorry.
May I invite you to stand? Let us pray. Almighty God, we thank you for the blessing of life. We thank you for this opportunity to be here this morning on such a wonderful occasion. We ask, dear God, that you continue to guide the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, the Bureau of Standards, Jamaica, in the execution of our mandates and in service to our country. We thank you, Father, for the stakeholders who have been supportive of the ministry and the agencies, and those who are able to be here on location and those who are joining online. We ask, God, that you continue to give us wisdom in all that we do. We also ask, Father, that you put your healing hand on any person who may not be feeling well this morning, wherever they are. And we just move throughout this ceremony with thanksgiving in our hearts. And we ask, Father, that you also just put a protective covering over each person that is here with us this morning. We ask that you will protect us from all harm and evil. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Ms. Green. Very thoughtful prayer, and I think we are all covered and blessed at the end of that prayer this morning. I've been asked to invite persons to share the live stream using hashtag #GetJANAAC and hashtag BSJ, and to also invite persons to visit the JANAAC website for more information on its accreditation and training services. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to also indicate that the event is being live streamed on Zoom and JANAAC and JIS YouTube pages, as well as the MIIC Facebook pages at the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. So you see, Minister, we're using every avenue to make sure that we can get the message out. And so I'd like to welcome all viewers joining virtually this JANAAC FDA recognition and awards ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I would ask you to turn your attention to the screen, because we're going to have a message which will be delivered by Mr. Simon Roberts, who is chairman of JANAAC. And just to tell you that Mr. Roberts was appointed as the first chairman of JANAAC when the agency was incorporated in 2007, served for 2 terms, and then was returned as chairman in 2016. So we have to thank Mr. Roberts for his long and continuous service with JANAAC, and we would ask you all now to listen to the message from Mr. Roberts.
Good morning, Madam Master of Ceremonies, honorable ministers, distinguished representatives from the FDA, JMEA, PSOJ, and IMAJ, partners and other key stakeholders from national and regional trade industries and quality infrastructure organizations, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, on location at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, and of course, online. Good morning. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the JANAAC FDA Recognition and Accreditation Awards Ceremony 2022. It's a very special, let me give you a very special welcome to those who are present at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in Kingston, Jamaica, and of course, especially invited guests from the Caribbean region, United States, and other parts of the world who are joining us via the JANAAC, JIS, and MIIC social media pages. The JANAAC FDA Recognition and Accreditation Awards Ceremony 2022 was organized to celebrate the agency's tremendous accomplishments in providing accreditation services aimed at building internationally competitive quality infrastructures.
Recording in progress.
On behalf of the Accreditation Council, management, and staff of the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, JANAAC, I wish to extend heartiest congratulations to the 4 well-deserving laboratories at the Bureau of Standards Jamaica for having attained JANAAC accreditation to the ISO IEC 17025-2017 standard. As a partner agency within the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, JANAAC salutes the BSJ as a standard bearer for quality assurance. This, ladies and gentlemen, is indeed worthy of emulation. The theme for today's event is actually accreditation, sustainability in economic growth and the environment. And this theme is the one that was actually incorporated in the June 9 World Accreditation Day celebrations this year. June 9th is celebrated every year as World Accreditation Day. And it reflects the role of accreditation in supporting the achievement of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. We can agree that the complexities of a rapidly changing global trade environment require the implementation of inclusive and holistic approaches to achieve sustainable development. Our nations must continue to build economic, social, and environmental resilience with key industries reinforced by the pillars of a strong quality infrastructure. These are namely accreditation, standards, metrology, and conformity assessment. As a nation and as a region, we must assess the degree to which accreditation and the creation of a culture of quality can serve as a powerful stabilizing force in supporting sustainable development. We must implement systems to increase the competitiveness of our export markets in developing quality-led value chains in which the production of goods and services are aligned with international standards and best practices. The past 2 years has necessitated us to rethink quality assurance and the role of accreditation in the new normal. All of this to say that we hope that today's function will fully contextualize and continue the dialogue on the value of accreditation in supporting industry and commerce. So ladies and gentlemen, I once again welcome each and every one of you and wish you a very insightful and rewarding experience with us today. Thank you.
I am now going to ask our private sector partners to offer greetings. And we're going to be starting with Mr. Lenworth Kelly, President of the Incorporated Master Builders Association of Jamaica, who I understand is unable to be here in person this morning and so will join us online. And he will be followed by Mrs. Kamisha Blake, Executive Director, Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, and she will be followed by Mrs. Amiga Breeze McNabb, Executive Director, Private Sector Organization of Jamaica. So I'm going to ask that you follow in sequence on that basis. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Madam Master of Ceremonies, Ministers of Government, representatives from JANAAC and the Bureau of Standards, Jamaica, representatives from private sector bodies, good morning. The Incorporated Master Builders Association of Jamaica congratulates and celebrates with the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, JANAAC, on its recent achievement of being approved by the United States Food and Drug Administration as a recognized accreditation body under the FDA accredited third-party certification program. Taking note of today's theme, accreditation, sustainability in economic growth and the environment, we take also this opportunity to congratulate the Bureau of Standards and its varying testing labs on the attainment of the JANAAC accreditation standard ISEC. The Aggregates Laboratory, Concrete and Masonry Laboratory, the Cement Laboratory, and the Energy Efficiency Laboratory. Within the construction industry, maintaining material specifications is critical to the delivery of the end product. As a matter of fact, for construction contracts, if the materials specifications are not met, whether process or just testing at the end, the works will be rejected and instructed to be redone. So it's extremely critical and very important, the signal achievement of the various laboratories. And it's imperative that locally produced aggregates, cement, and masonry products meet the highest local and international standards. We take this opportunity to continue to encourage JANAAC and specifically the Bureau of Standards to continue to widen their education and industry sensitization effort. It's very important. We have a lot of operatives that are on a smaller scale, and we encourage reaching out and a continued sensitization. So wherever the aggregate is produced, wherever the concrete and masonry products are produced, we know we have our cement manufacturer, which tends to maintain the high standards, but we want to encourage the BSJ to reach out. The master builders is here. We are available to assist so we can get full compliance. Thanks everyone, and congratulations again, JANAAC and the BSJ testing laboratories.
All protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I want to first thank JANAAC for inviting us to bring remarks on this very special occasion. Recent data released by the PIOJ show that the Jamaican economy grew 8.1% in fiscal year 2021-2022. This is after contracting 9.9% in 2020 due to COVID-19. Quite notable, our exports earnings was US $1.4 billion. And for manufacturing, this was an increase of 30% over 2020. Our strong recovery in GDP and export revenue was against a backdrop of businesses that made great strides in innovation, production, and market penetration. We do know manufacturing is a cornerstone of the Jamaican economy. We have the best rum and sauces. I see Wisinka here, and definitely we have some great beverages too. However, as a small, open economy, Jamaica has to be strategically placed in international trade. And this requires having good services to make us competitive. This will help to support innovation-driven, high-quality goods and services. Minister, the manufacturing growth strategy outlines that we want to get to $81 billion in GDP contribution coming from the manufacturing sector by 2025. Now, JANAAC has been supporting manufacturers through its services as accreditation. It makes us more competitive. It not only satisfies the local scrutiny, but it helps us to meet international requirements and for us to overcome technical barriers to trade. The approval of JANAAC by the US FDA as a recognized accreditation body under the accredited third-party certification program for a period of 5 years is quite significant. Local businesses can access international services, and this will make us more competitive. Ladies and gentlemen, manufacturing is we are seeing positive results. JANAAC has put in the extra work, and businesses should take steps to innovate, increase research and development, certification, and export more. There are many opportunities in the global market. For example, medical cannabis and hemp. The implementation of the regulatory framework in Jamaica for cannabis and hemp attracted many players. However, we have seen where licenses is mainly in cultivation, retail, processing, and very few in research and development. The domestic market could advance significantly from increased R&D and taking interest in medical applications. When I look at the accreditation for JANAAC, it was mainly concentrated in the food industry. However, we have opportunities here that we can launch out and be globally competitive in, and hemp and cannabis is one of those. I want to say that the JMEA is committed to driving positive change as we advocate and support our local manufacturers and exporters. We welcome changes that will allow us to be more competitive. Jamaica, we're always large, right? And we can do that too in manufacturing. Congratulations, JANAAC, and well done to the awardees that will be recognized today for their hard work. keep driving growth and development in Jamaica.
All protocols observed, and good morning everyone here in person and online. You know, as our minister and others would say, the government is here to facilitate private sector-led growth and investment, and of course, protect the consumers. And today is another such step in that direction, as we continue to build out the quality infrastructure to support key areas of our economy, agribusiness, construction, manufacturing and export, and energy. The PSOJ is therefore pleased, and like my other private sector partners, join in the celebration of this significant accomplishment for JANAAC and the Bureau of Standards. I mean, 15 years, congratulations. And Simon Roberts, thank you for the great job that you have been doing over that period. This most recent accomplishment, being designated as a recognized accreditation body for the FDA under the accredited third-party certification program, augurs well for our local and regional manufacturers, because we export this service too, don't we? Fantastic. And having 4 labs of the Bureau of Standards, this shows accredited to international standards would lead to sustainability and economic growth. The PSOJ, we congratulate you, JANAAC, and we congratulate the Bureau of Standards on reaching this significant milestone. Your authority to accredit certification bodies with the ability to conduct food safety audits under 10 of the 11 possible scopes of accreditation will undoubtedly provide a more seamless experience for local manufacturers and exporters, allowing greater access to international markets. At the PSOJ, we remain cognizant, just like the JME, of the importance of increasing our export levels if we are truly to provide that catalyst for growth. And in 2021, exports of goods and services accounted for 27.9% of GDP. And we can acknowledge that this allows for significant improvement with a vast global market with demand for Jamaican products. Sustainability is, however, key. So as we integrate environment, social, and government practices, that investors and shareholders are becoming increasingly focused on determining viability of companies, accreditation services play a role. They are intricately linked to environmental performance. So this year's theme, accreditation, sustainability in economic growth and the environment, is quite timely. We see our buildings going up. We are talking about food and energy security and bringing supply chains near shore. We have to have a holistic approach to development. The PSOJ remains a committed partner in establishing and supporting trade linkages as we recognize our increased capacity to meet the highest of international standards through our local accreditation bodies. Again, congratulations on this wonderful accomplishment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lentworth Kelly, Mrs. Kamisha Blake, and Mrs. Amina Breeze McNabb for your greetings this morning and for the validation of the importance of this event for Jamaica, for manufacturers, for increasing exports. Minister is on a drive to increase exports. He says even if he goes to a funeral, he'll find an opportunity to speak about exports if he's speaking at such an event. We noted the Jamaica way always large. Yes, it's true. And we just have to keep on executing on that. I know that, Minister, there's some move again around Brand Jamaica and how we take advantage of the opportunity of this considerable and impactful brand that is Brand Jamaica. The importance, as outlined by Mr. Kelly, of the BSJ accreditation in terms of construction material and being assured of the quality of our construction material, importance of manufacturing and innovation in our manufacturing, and the recognition of the importance of quality, both for our local and our international trade. We thank all three of our private sector partners for their comments here this morning. You will have heard from our speakers as well that JANAAC has been approved by the Food and Drug Administration as an accreditation body under the FDA third-party certification program. Ladies and gentlemen, this is no small deal. It's a big deal. And we will hear more about that. To tell us a little bit about that process and that program, we now call on Ms. Doraliz De Leon, who is a program coordinator, accredited third-party certification program at the United States Food and Drug Administration. Ms. De Leon?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for the introduction. It is both an honor to serve as a program coordinator for FDA's third-party accreditation program, or TPP, and for me to be with you via webcast this morning. FDA is excited about JANAAC's participation in our program, and we congratulate you on your recognition. The program serves as one way for FDA to leverage the great work that's already being done in the accreditation and certification space to facilitate safe food into U.S. commerce. We import a lot of foods into the United States. About 15% of the U.S. food supply is imported, including nearly 50% of fresh fruit and 20% of fresh vegetables and 80% of seafood. It is FDA's responsibility, along with suppliers and importers, to help ensure imported food is safe. We tailor our oversight responsibilities by leveraging work done by other responsible parties in the food supply chain and applying new regulatory tools that have been provided with the Food Safety Modernization Act, or FSMA, along with our existing tools. In this way, we can meet our mandate to protect consumers. We can also use our resources more efficiently because then it allows us to allocate them to areas that present the greatest risk. We do have a couple of challenges. We face them when we're working to achieve these goals in trying to determine how to use credible information from third parties to assist our oversight activities. Specifically, how do we use this information in planning our work? The second challenge, which is a challenge that many countries face, is how do we verify that our food safety standards are being met? In enacting FSMA, Congress recognized that verification is a central element in preventing foodborne illness and directed FDA to work with government partners and credible third parties around the world to confirm compliance. The Accredited Third-Party Certification Program is one of the programs under FSMA that allows us to meet these challenges. As was shared with the event brief, TPP is a voluntary fee-based program whereby FDA recognizes accreditation bodies that in turn accredit third-party certification bodies to perform food safety audits and issue certifications for food facilities and the foods that they produce. The regulation is found in 21 CFR Part 1, Subpart M, and covers the requirements to be followed by accreditation bodies and certification bodies that wish to participate in our program. Now, by statute, the regulatory audits that are done under our program can be used to meet the eligibility requirements of the Voluntary Qualified Importer Program, or VQIP, which is another FDA program that allows for expedited review and entry of foods from importers that participate in this program. The certificates that would be issued under TPP can also be used to meet the requirements of 801Q, which allows FDA to require certification as a condition of entry for food imports under certain circumstances. And more broadly, These certificates can also be used to show compliance with the applicable FDA food safety standards and applicable parts of the Federal Food and Drug Cosmetic Act. So as an accreditation body that's been recognized by FDA, JANAAC has met the criteria for a program, including the ability to assess third-party certification bodies for accreditation, including observing a representative sample of prospective certification bodies' work. They also can monitor performance of the third-party certification body that it accredits, including periodically conducting on-site observations and notifying the FDA of any change in or withdrawal of accreditations that it has granted. They can also assess and correct any problems in their own performance and doing quality assurance, and then submit monitoring and self-assessment reports and other notifications to FDA. They also maintain and provide the FDA access to records required to be kept under this program. So it's good that they have, it's so great that they've achieved this recognition, because the TPP audits could cover all foods under FDA's jurisdiction. So currently we work with 11 food areas or categories. And so JANAAC has been, as mentioned, recognized to accredit certification bodies for all but one of these scope categories. So it is indeed a great importance. Just in general information about the program, if those of you are interested, we do have a number of documents that we hope will be useful for you, for those that I said are interested. JANAAC can facilitate access to these documents, or you can also access them by visiting FDA's website and searching for FDA accredited third-party certification program. Among this information is a fact sheet about the program. We also have documents with answers to the most common questions that we've received so far with TPP. It is a growing program, and we're excited to have JANAAC aboard. If you have any questions, you can submit them on FSMA's homepage. Basically, myself or my staff will be responsible for answering your question as we receive them. But we do want to take this moment and opportunity to thank Ms. Shirley Sharon May, Ms. Gabrielle and Bell, Mr. Janika Daly, and Ms. Simone Mills, and Ms. Nico Booth Thompson, and the rest of the JANAAC team who have worked with us and who so graciously hosted my colleagues during their visit to Jamaica in December of last year. I was so sorry to have missed that trip. We look forward to our collaboration and seeing your activities in the accreditation space. My sincerest appreciation for all of the work that you do, and again, congratulations.
Thank you very much, Ms. De Leon, and that, of course, provides you persons here and listening online with a bit more information as to how the process goes and what this allows for. But the end process, the end result is the possibility for expedited processing of products going into the United States and elsewhere, which is so important for our export drive. So thank you very much, Ms. De Leon, not just for being here this morning, but for the work with JANAAC and helping to take them through to this very important achievement. Thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have already heard from Mr. Andre Gillespie, our saxophonist, when he played the national anthem for us this morning with such a powerful ending rendition to the anthem. A little bit about him. He is a talented saxophonist. He was born in a small district in St. Catherine called Point Hill. And I understand he has been playing the saxophone for over 8 years at various events, not just locally, but internationally. So he's part of our export of services, which is very important. And we need to grow much more in that area in terms of our export of services. And I understand that he also is a member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, so he's providing national service as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's listen again to Mr. Gillespie. Mr. Gillespie? Thank you very much, Mr. Gillespie. That was very inspiring, and it lifts the mood, yes? Gets us all bright and awake this morning. Thank you so much. Now we're going to hear from the lady of the moment, Ms. Sharon May Shirley. Ms. Sharon May Shirley has been CEO of JANAAC since 2014, and so she has been a big part of the growth and development of this organization. But even before that, ladies and gentlemen, she was involved with JANAAC because she is an inaugural member of the JANAAC Accreditation Council, which was formed in 2008 and provided technical training and other technical expertise to the accreditation body prior to becoming its CEO. So a large part of what JANAAC is today is as a result of the efforts and the work of Ms. Shirley. So we congratulate her for that, and we ask her to speak to us this morning. She will speak on accreditation, trade, and JANAAC. Ms. Shirley.
Thank you, Marcio. And I need to just lift this just a little bit. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Our Master of Ceremonies, P.S. Sancia Benny Templar, thank you for your kind words of introduction. Senator the Honorable Albin Hill, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce. Honorable Dr. Norman Dunn, Minister of State in the MIIC. Distinguished representatives from the FDA, JMEA, PSOJ, IMAJ, and of course our celebrants, the BSJ. But I must recognize all the other distinguished heads of agencies, regional partners, and key stakeholders that are here in person and who have joined us online. And of course, to our distinguished chairman, Simon Roberts, and council members who are here with us. We have Stephen Dawkins and Lyndon Nugent in person here at the Jamaica Pegasus. It is an extraordinary privilege to share with you at this signal celebratory event in Jamaica's 60th year of independence, being observed under the theme, Reigniting a Nation for Greatness, Global Excellence or Mission. It is indeed fitting to raise an anthem of praise to our Heavenly Father, without whom we would not have the success that we have today. JANAAC is indeed privileged to be a part of a ministry family who is very supportive. As mentioned, we have been on this journey for just about 15 years, and our mandate is to ensure Jamaica's compliance with the World Trade Organization's Technical Barriers to Trade Agreement by providing transparent, accredited conformity assessment services that conform to international standards, effectively leveling the playing field. The Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, we are a small agency, but we have a big mandate, and we are proud to stand beside the best in the world. JANAAC achieves its mandate through accreditation services to public and private sector laboratories, inspection bodies, and certification bodies. We also provide technical training, and we are pleased to be providing these services not just in Jamaica, but in 9 other Caribbean states. I thought you'd say, well done, JANAAC. You may be asking yourself the question, why is accreditation important? Why are we even having this ceremony? Accreditation confirms the technical competence, integrity, and impartiality of our conformity assessment activities. The growth in international trade has paralleled the rapid growth of national and international voluntary and mandatory technical regulations, standards, and other criteria that have been introduced by these states to safeguard their consumers. Exporters from developing economies like our own find it extremely difficult to penetrate these markets. Of note, the World Bank states that 10% of specific trade concerns are related to the inappropriate use of conformity assessment requirements, many of which have formed barriers to trade and prevent free flow of goods across borders. JANAAC is indeed a vital partner, but little is known of our potential. And many people will say, I've never heard of JANAAC. You know, I'm happy to hear of you now, but I never knew about a JANAAC. And so we are using all media, and we are very happy for our media partners today who we believe will help to share this message. And we hope that you too will be our ambassadors to tell others that it is important to use an accredited service provider. JANAAC provides the confidence, the stamp of approval that our trading partners need. Because JANAAC is not a regulatory authority, it cannot require mandatory accreditation, and so accreditation is voluntary. I know my minister is working on doing something about that. The number of accreditation certificates have grown since our inception. We first accredited 1 lab in 2010. 2014, we were at 8. We are giving God thanks today because we have had exponential growth over the last 7 years, where we now have just about All right. Thank you so much. All right. So I will repeat what I said, that right now we have moved from 8 certificates in 2014 to 76 in 2022. We are pleased. Thank you. And now we welcome 4 other BSJ labs into the halls of accreditation fame, which now makes the BSJ the client with the most extensive accreditation scope. Congratulations, BSJ. Much more will be said about their award later on. Notably, JANAAC, with its ear to the ground, heard the pleas from our stakeholders. And these pleas crescendoed as far back as in 2011, when the Food Safety Modernization Act was passed in the United States. It impacted our exportation. And we listened, and we are here today because you spoke and we acted. And today we are one of 4 accreditation bodies in the world so recognized to accredit third-party certification bodies. More indeed will be said by Honorable Minister Hill. Accreditation has tremendous benefits that can be a game changer for government, businesses, and for each one of us as consumers. Accreditation facilitates products and services transfer across borders without causing undue risk to health and security. And for each of us, we want to know that when we are ill or our family members are ill, we can get accurate diagnoses. JANAAC is internationally recognized for the accreditation services provided to testing, medical testing, and inspection bodies. We are pleased that our accreditation of 17025 accredited labs also provides services to the cannabis and hemp. I thought I'd just say this because we have you covered. We have you covered. As JANAAC looks to the future, there is no place for complacency. We must meet the diverse demands of our stakeholders, respond to challenges. Dr. Norman Dunn, he's challenging us. Embrace the national quality policy and build regional partnerships to make Jamaica a better place to live, work, do business, and raise families. We thank all our partners like CrossQ who have helped us on our journey. We thank the Public Sector Transformation Project who provided the funding to allow us to apply to the FDA TPP program. We recognize Mr. Hemans, the project manager, and we also recognize Mr. Junior Gordon, who have been instrumental in our receiving that grant from the World Bank. We thank all of you. Our achievements could not have been done without you. We thank our dedicated Accreditation Council members, led by our chairman, Simon Roberts. And of course, we are very blessed to have active participation in our programs by our portfolio ministry, our ministers, our permanent secretaries. We thank our hard-working staff for their commitment, for their dedication. Today, we're missing a few of them here, especially Gabriel, who is out sick, but we know you're watching online. Without you, our team members, we would not have achieved this milestone. It would not be possible. We are truly indebted to Almighty God for continued guidance and ask for renewed vision as we work together to reignite a nation for greatness. We stand ready to play our part. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shirley. You mentioned that JANAAC is a small agency with a big mandate. I would put it another way. I'd say it's a small agency with a big punch in terms of what it does for Jamaica, for businesses, as you spoke to, not just what we're concentrating on this morning, but also medical accreditation as well, the work with the cannabis industry, the reach across the Caribbean to 9 Caribbean states. So obviously a very, very big, not just mandate, but area of influence and accomplishments. Thank you so very much for all the work that you do and for the accomplishments in terms of the growth and development of the organization and the big part of that you have been. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to hear from our keynote speaker, Senator the Honorable Alvin Hill. He has only been at the ministry for about 6 or 7 months, but of course he's not new to business, having served and led in various capacities across the world. And so he comes to this portfolio with a unique blend of experience and understanding. And what I can tell you is that he's very seized of this importance in time in history in terms of the world and business, how Jamaica needs to position within that. He is very, very focused on increasing exports, both in goods and services, working to develop the manufacturing sector, the export sector, and garnering investments from every corner of the world for Jamaica. So since he's been minister, he has been to discussions with international partners. We have had the ACE conference in Montego Bay, which he personally led day by day, week by week. We have just had that major delegation, that mission from Saudi Arabia. And believe me, I looked at the calendar for the rest of the year, Minister, and I thought, thank heavens there's August, which is normally slow, because I can tell you that September, October, November, and I'm sure beyond that, we'll all be on our toes. But Minister, it's all in service to Jamaica and moving exports and investments for Jamaica, and we are all behind you, and we look forward to your address this morning.
Well, I do the sanitation and all that stuff. I'm so very pleased to see so many people here and recognizing that accreditation is so vital in a world that operates on WhatsApp speed. Not to mention TikTok if you're Amiga and Miss Blake. I start up here at WhatsApp and watch where it goes. But you know, it's important for us to do this. People need to understand that Jamaica is changing, and you can't change and be successful in the world unless you have very clear standards. When you have clear standards, life is easier for you. When they invite Shellyan to run, they know bloody well what they're going to get. And then they talk about, they decide which one it is. You get the other two, you know what you're going to get. So we have to have very clear standards. So the standard, now that they say I'm in the political milieu, is Mrs. Sancia Bennett Templar, Chairperson and Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. Otherwise, I'm eager. I won't go through this list. You know that. but I cannot not do that these days. Dr. the Honorable Norman Dunn, Minister of State in the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, and you guys will get to know even more in this business, in this area of our ministry, how much more Dr. Dunn will be involved in a short while. Mr. Simon Roberts, Chairman of the JANAAC Accreditation Council, thank you, and congratulations for the work that you guys do. Mrs. Sharon May Shirley, CEO of Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, and if you think I have energy, watch her. Endless energy. And Sharon May, thank you so much for the work you and your team do. Mrs. Dorelis de Leon, Program Coordinator, Accreditation Third Party Certification Program with the United States Food and Drug Administration. This is big stuff. Every time I mention it, the FDA, you must clap, okay? Please. Ms. Kamisha Blake, Executive Director of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association. Always good to see you. I can expect both of you most times when you're in a place. You're together, you and Amiga. And of course, Mrs. Amiga Breeze McNabb, Executive Director, Private Sector Organization of Jamaica. She's that, but she's also an excellent tennis player. It's the truth. Mr. Lenworth Kelly, President of the Incorporated Master Builders and Exporters Association. Good to see you, sir. Very good to have you. Is it the red jacket or the blue jacket? The mask doesn't allow me, so I have to ask. Mr. Kelly, good to have you, sir, and know that you're using our service. Mr. Hunston Hunter, Director of the Metrology and Testing Division with the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, representing Dr. Veldon Gooden, the Executive Director of the Bureau, and clearly other heads of agencies. We have 22 of them in the ministry. Members of the Accreditation Council, media practitioners, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed my distinct pleasure to begin my day with such an agreeable occasion as we acknowledge landmark achievements of two agencies of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, known as JANAAC. You're going to get used to that acronym, get used to it, and the Bureau of Standards, which we know, of course, has existed for quite some time. Soon after my appointment in this ministry in January this year, I met with all heads of agencies for a briefing regarding their strategic priorities. I was struck by the scope of our operations and the work being done to help businesses, owners reach international standards and improve the ease of doing business in Jamaica and the other countries some of our agencies serve. Those 22 agencies do a lot of work. JAMPRO, of course, JBDC, all of them along the way, BSJ, lots of Campbell Soup alphabet names along the way, which I'm still getting to know. I think I've covered most of them now. We have hazardous area, then we have CLA, and so on. Can't leave out CLA. I was also impressed by the potential to strengthen the mechanisms toward vibrant, measurable, must be vibrant, measurable, and sustainable local and international commerce. You're going to hear more about that. We have to be measurable. Again, we have to be sustainable, and of course, we must be very vibrant, like our runners and athletes in Oregon. This accreditation award ceremony signals both the realization of some of that potential, as well as the commitment of the leadership and staff of the two pillars of the National Quality Infrastructure, NQI, the BSJ and JANAAC, to the Ministry's tripartite mandate to facilitate trade and investment, grow and sustain industries, and protect and empower our consumers. It is also a firm acknowledgement of our commitment to drive the competitiveness of local industries by implementing a robust national quality infrastructure underpinned by standards development, metrology, accreditation, and conformity assessment. All those are important if we're going to be good at what we do. JANAAC's JANAAC's mutual recognition agreements with regional and international accreditation corporations enable those entities which they accredit to have their results accepted worldwide. That is important. We deal with 9 other countries and probably more in the relatively near future, but we have to make sure that we are spreading this service of JANAAC worldwide. It's a service, and therefore we're exporting that service. We must get money for what we do, and I think she's collecting it over there. And the agency remains the only internationally recognized accreditation body in the English-speaking Caribbean which provides services to conformity assessment bodies equivalent to accreditation bodies in any part of the world. We are proud that the BSJ now has a total of 8 JANAAC accredited labs. 8 labs across to do. It's a lot. It's a lot of investment, but if you're going to grow, you have to invest. You cannot grow and bear back, you have to invest. Today's recognition of the BSJ's Aggregates laboratory. They're telling me that you are the man who will be using that. Who is the... He's online. Okay. Thank you very much. Today's recognition of the BSJ's Aggregates laboratory, concrete and masonry units laboratory, and the cement testing lab is significant because of the impact it will have on the local construction and transportation industries. Very, very big part of our growing economy is that construction sector. We need to make sure they're right up to world standards. Some of you might recall the horrific collapse of the Chaplain Towers South Condominium Complex near Miami, Florida, in June of 2021, and unfortunately, where 98 people died and dozens others were injured. A similar, though less fatal accident, still very bad for us, occurred in Jamaica in October 26, 2020, when a 3-story commercial building in Manchester collapsed following days of heavy rain. That tells you somebody didn't do the standards right. Rain shouldn't take down concrete and steel unless it's right in the middle of a river, which, of course, we shouldn't be building in rivers. The accreditation of these labs, coupled with the BSJ metallurgy laboratory that was previously accredited by JANAAC, will now support the industry in ensuring that the tests that are done on the construction products and materials will improve the quality of buildings, roads, and bridges in Jamaica. Excuse me, are you going to compete with me, or are you going to take out your phone? Thank you very much. It has happened to all of us there. I know how it is. What you do next time, carry an earphone, plug it in the phone, and when the noise comes on, nobody else will hear it. You know, the government of Jamaica is not only fixing accreditation and compliance to make our business environment better, to ensure opportunity exists and our entrepreneurs and companies are successful. Last week, the Andrew Holness administration announced in Parliament the following measures totaling $3.58 billion to care for and help many of our needy Jamaicans in a time of growing inflation. And the government has come through a very difficult time. When pandemic was announced and inflation took off, and the moment I came into office, the first week I had to meet in this room, I think it was CTD, I think it was in this room, we met the traders to talk about prices going up and flour coming in, and we have enough. Through that period of time, the government led by Andrew Holness and us in cabinet, worked hard to make sure when there was a dip, you remember the issues we had? Now they've sort of gone by us. The issues we had in the BPO section, and people, we had to get a protocol to have people work at home. The BPO dipped for a while, and it started again. We had 43,000 people employed. Now we're closer to 55,000 right through that period of time. The reports just out by Statin, in 2021 to 2022, Jamaica's economy grew by 8.2%. If you're young like I'm Megan, Miss Blake, you never see them kind of growth numbers there ever in your life. Give the government, come on, join the lady and clap. It's for the government, this is our country. We are growing 8.2% when many in our region can't even think about growth. They have regressed. Many across the world have regressed. Jamaica, under Andrew Holness, in this period, has grown by 8.2%. But that's not the only story. Our unemployment, as Ms. Blake told you, fell to 6.2%. In a developing country, that's close to full employment. We have grown during a time of inflation. We have grown while we kept, in this time of inflation, a stable currency. In fact, 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, the currency upvalued. All kinds of good reasons for that. So you want to recognize that in this time of global difficulty, we have become a leading economy in our region, and people are looking up to us across the world. What did we do last week? We offered 800 million. Minister Clark offered in Parliament 800 million to provide assistance to public transport operators as a means of protecting the substantial number of Jamaicans who depend on public transportation. That's important. 200 million will go as loans through DBJ. 750 million for a food assistance program targeting 75,000 persons to be executed through the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. We don't want to say the wrong thing. 152 million for an increase in the allocation through PATH. Approximately 2 billion to the GOJ Energy Copay, where the government of Jamaica contributes 20% of the JPS bill. Now, this is huge. In other times of crisis, the currency gone to hell. We have to go beg and borrow money to come through it. This time we haven't done anything like that. The Prime Minister opened the Montego Bay Perimeter Road at the weekend, spending $275 million US of our money, free money, not borrowed money. Give the country a clap. Because that means that people will get work. That means that businesses can grow and employ more people. The benefits that we're giving out, when NIDS come in, it will mean that they can go easier and quicker. There are some complaints. We're aware that some people haven't gotten the money. We're not unaware of it. So we're going to make sure we do everything we can for them to get it. Please, when the NIDS come and arrive, I recommend to you, I will be registering. Me not have nothing to hide. Them can take the information. And we're not taking unnecessary information. Just what is needed to make sure NIDS can work. So when we offer a program like this, ordinary people who can't get into big financial institutions, they don't have to go anywhere. Them get them phone. I know, say, this phone on the India calls their program their DAR program. Ours is called NIDS. People who can read and can't read, them get an app, them know how to touch it, them go buy them gas, and no middleman can take away the money that the government give to them. In India, it was a big racket. Maybe racket here so too, but may talk over there. Because I know it's a big racket, and I know that. Okay? So, I don't want any of them come write me up and say me accuse people of racketeering in Jamaica. So, but really and truly, you know things go on. So if the monies go straight to your phone and you can use it, nobody can take it away from you unless you give them the money. So we're looking to secure that what the government gives really does go to where it should go, and that NIDS program is coming. So the government, not only fixing accreditation, but for the 60th independence anniversary, we're going to give $750 million for the independence cleanup of parish capitals. We must all get involved. If you don't have no parish capital, because too many of you line up in halfway tree, please, we have places in Black River, in St. Elizabeth, nice parish, wonderful parish. Pass Mandeville and go there and come back and help them in Mandeville. So you know what I mean. You can help wherever you want during this independence period. So the government is doing not just fixing accreditation, but also helping people without going into debt, because we manage and fix our fiscal arrangements in such a way that we can manage to help Jamaicans at a time of difficulty. Is it enough? It's never enough. But boy, we're trying our best to make sure we help as many people as we can. Energy efficiency continues to be a priority for all governments. The accreditation of the BSJ's Energy Efficiency Testing Lab signals the importance this ministry places in providing our consumers with appliances that meet the efficiency specs stated by the manufacturers. The work of the BSJ Energy Efficiency Laboratory in support of the regulatory functions of the National Compliance Regulatory Authority, NCRA, will allow entrepreneurs to test new products being introduced to the market to ensure that they meet requirements before they're manufactured locally or imported. The lab's accredited tests determine the extent to which products such as refrigerators, freezers, wine chillers, and room air conditioners meet rigorous safety and energy efficiency standards. We are similarly committed to Sustainable Development Goals SDG 7, which calls for affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all by 2030. Believe me, even yesterday in Cabinet, I can't tell you what him said, but I can tell you him say something. The Prime Minister and us in Cabinet, the Prime Minister is very clearly committed that we have to make sure if we're going to grow, we bring down our energy costs. So he's looking at all areas with his team, Minister Vaz, those of us, others are in Cabinet. We have to look at alternatives, because we have to make sure we have that affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy supply, so that as I encourage the people in the PSOJ and the Manufacturers Association to grow and build your business, they don't say to me rightly every time, but the energy cost is too high. We were elected as a government to fix that, and I know the PM is on it. I therefore heartily congratulate the team at the BSJ for the dedicated effort that has led to the accreditation of these 4 labs. I would like to highlight the news of the recent appointment of Mrs. Julia Bonner-Douay. I like that, a French name right here in Jamaica. Sound goody? Mrs. Julia Bonner-Douay. Hey, that sounds good. BSJ Director to chair the international organization, properly so, International Organization for Standardization Developing Countries Committee. Additionally, Mrs. Sharon May Shirley, really elaborate, she couldn't put Sharon alone, she have to put May on it. Sharon May Shirley has been the chair for the Joint Development Support Committee of International Laboratory Accreditation and International Accreditation Forum since 2018. I am confident that these 2 leaders are representing the ministry and Jamaica with great professionalism and vision. It's at this point I think I have to pause for a video clip. Here you go. Clap them. The Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, JANAAC, continues to expand its scope of services that enhance ease of access to international markets for manufacturers and exporters. As noted by Ms. De Leon from the FDA. The agency is now approved by the USA Food and Drug Administration as a recognized accreditation body under the accredited third-party certification program. JANAAC is now acknowledged as an entity that meets the applicable FDA requirements to conduct food safety audits and issue certifications of foreign food facilities such as farms and the foods that they produce. This means JANAAC is one of 4 accreditation bodies in the world. This means JANAAC is one of 4 accreditation bodies in the world recognized by the FDA in the accredited third-party certification program and the only AB with a scope of 10 approvals. That's really good. The only accreditation body with a scope of 10 approvals. So you have 10 different things that when JANAAC accredits you on, the FDA recognizes. Somebody get the message. Good students out there on this side. This is a major achievement for Jamaica and the region, as the manufacturing and export industries will benefit from job creation, market access, and product diversification for exports to the United States. JANAAC's accreditation of certification bodies will now allow them to issue the certifications required to be used by importers to establish eligibility for participation in the voluntary qualified importer program. All of these things are so important. We need to make sure manufacturers and prospective exporters understand it. JANAAC will be developing a program to make sure we take that message out to people in Jamaica so they can feel it. In addition, these certifications may be used in situations where the FDA requires that imported products be certified before entering the United States. So we're going to look at exporting food, exporting services. That pool of services, very important. In Jamaica, we tend to think of really only foods that you can eat and maybe a few products. But a big part of what we export is services. Shelly Ann and our friends, them are bring back hard currency. Export of a service. All those music people who go away and play music and give poetry and whatever else they do, bringing back the money. The BPO people who work here provide a service. Some of them on Harbour Street with KPMG, very high level service they're providing for KPMG back office across the world. BPO in Montego Bay, in Kingston, elsewhere. The entire tourist business is a service business. Them buy hotel rooms from us, them buy food, them buy transportation. All those things are services. We must not avoid and looking at services, so JANAAC is not. They're making sure the accreditation arrangements are there for them to be used. Last week, I was down here with Christmas in July. I want to make sure we encourage people at all levels, big names that you know, but also at low levels, smaller levels as they're growing, to make sure they can export. The accreditation process is vital. We need to make sure we look at developers, investors locally and internationally. I encourage our entrepreneurs to use the facility of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce to support our business operations. It is Jamaica's business ministry, and if you are a business owner or employees are at your service. And before I sit down, we cannot become a rich country selling to 3 million relatively poor people. Why do I say relatively poor when we're growing at 8.2% and our unemployment is 6.2%? Because the truth is, our per capita income is still very low, just below $5,000. When we look at the 19th richest country in the world, give or take a few, Israel, is 9.2 million people. They have 42,000 per capita GDP, much richer than us. They don't sell to only 9.2 million people. Israel sells to the world. All of you in here must find a way to sell to the world. Whether you do PR, find a company that will buy it overseas. Sell in Jamaica as well. Whether you do management services, make sure you find a connection overseas. And you're producing new sauces and juices, find an export connection. We must find an export connection. But if Israel at 9.2 million have 42,000, I'm going to blow your mind a bit. Singapore has 5.7 million, and they have an $83,000 US dollars GDP per capita. That's about 17 times ours. So we have to understand that if we are going to become a wealthy country, we have to, all of us, individually, if you're approving 5 things wherever you are, and 2 of them are for export, take them from the bottom and put them on top. Approve them first. You have to approve the others too now. Fast. Because if you're in the Ministry of Industry, you're going to have to work fast. But you're going to have to make sure that we focus on export. Jamaica needs to become a much richer country than it is, and we have all that potential that we've talked about. We're now in our 60th year. We can't bother with the meandering 1% average over 50 years. This 8.2% growth that we have, it's not going to last all the time, but we should commit that we do everything that it will fall below 4%. And from time to time, it must go above 8.2. In the pandemic, let me run past all of them like Shellyan. While they might try to get back, and countries are getting into debt. Read the international numbers coming out of the UN and the IMF, the World Bank. Things are tough. That means we have an opportunity to do this well. So I want to use this opportunity this morning to say congratulations to the BSJ and JANAAC on the many achievements they have. And we must grow our exports to become rich. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Minister Hill. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you you'd get the export message, and you got the export message. And I think the only time that that message is going to change is when we grow the numbers, and we can see that Jamaica is becoming one of those export powerhouses of the world. Thank you so much, Minister, for your address this morning. I think we're very much clearer and fully seized of the importance of this award ceremony today, what has been achieved with respect to the FDA, and what has been accomplished by the BSJ as well. So thank you very much, Minister, for adding so much clarity to the importance of this moment. We're going to have one final musical item from Mr. Andre Gillespie, just to give us that inspiration to send us on our way once we have included the actual award ceremony.
Microphone, yeah, it's on. I just need to be closer. Okay, Chairperson, Ministers, JANAAC CEO, partners, stakeholders, good morning. It's my pleasure to lead you through one of the highlights of this morning's program, where we present the awards to JANAAC and the BSJ. And to start, I'd like to invite Ms. Shirley, as well as the ministers and the Permanent Secretary, to the front of the room. And our first presentation, PS, Ministers Hill and Dunn. Thank you. Our first presentation is to JANAAC in recognition of its accreditation under FSMA accredited third-party certification program. And the FDA has recognized JANAAC as having the authority to accredit CBs with the ability to conduct food safety audits under 10 of the 11 possible scopes of accreditation, including acidified foods, dietary supplements, juice hazard analysis, and critical control points, low acid canned foods, etc. Thank you very much. Well done, JANAAC. We now move. We invite you to watch the screen for a short video that will be coming up.
Greetings, I'm Richard Lawrence, Manager for the Testing and Industrial Services branch here at the Bureau of Standards, Jamaica. We are an entity that does construction testing as well as civil engineering material testing. We are happy to be a part of the accreditation process where we are now able to serve the wider community. In the last 5 to 10 years, we have seen an upsurge in construction in Jamaica, and it is very important that the Jamaican construction industry has traceability to international standards, and that is what we provide. Through our cement lab, headed by Mr. Paul Thomas, our concrete and masonry unit lab, headed by Mr. Harriet Wilson, and our aggregate testing lab, headed by Mr. Clifford Grant. My team members are the best in the industry, being trained by the international standards bodies, ASTM, ASTRO, etc. So we're confident and competent. We started on a journey some years ago to get international best practices established, and we're happy that today and confident that we're able to provide the greatest service possible for Jamaicans in the construction industry.
Hi, my name is Garfield Morgan, manager of the Electrical and Electronics branch, in which the Energy Efficiency Laboratory is located. This lab was established in 2017. It was established for the testing of air conditioners, refrigerators, freezers, and wine chillers. This lab provides test results on which regulators generate energy labels. Consumers can then use these labels as a guide in purchasing energy efficient appliances. Of course, we are pleased with the accreditation received. Accreditation indicates that
Good, and I'll continue. I think it has been said several times this morning that accreditation indicates competence and gives assurance in the marketplace that your product has been tested to the very highest standards possible.
1 second, so Miss Sharon May is going to accredit the firm behind. We know who they are, but they need to get accreditation from her, because this one, many times they work well, that's the truth. It's JIS, I think, but something is not right here. You have to get accredited to be at the same standard all the time. What can I tell you? It's true.
Okay, we now invite the members of the head party to the front of the room again. Thank you for indulging us. And we move directly to the presentation of the awards. First, to the BSJs, the Bureau of Standards Jamaica Aggregates Laboratory. And this award will be received by Mr. Wilfred Francis, Senior Technical Officer for Testing and Industrial Services at the BSJ. We congratulate the team of the Testing and Industrial Standards Services branch at the BSJ. And we have been saying it, they're now accredited to ISO IEC 17025 standard. 17025 standard. Our second presentation goes to the Bureau of Standards Jamaica Concrete and Masonry Units Laboratory. And this will be received by Mr. Hunston Hunter, Director for Metrology and Testing at the Bureau of Standards Jamaica. Congratulations to the team of the Metrology and Testing Division. And thirdly, the Bureau of Standards Jamaica's Cement Testing Laboratory. This will be received by Mr. Richard Lawrence, Manager for Testing and Industrial Services Branch, Bureau of Standards Jamaica. Congratulations to the team. And finally, to the Bureau of Standards Jamaica Energy Efficiency Testing Laboratory, this to be received by Garfield Morgan, Manager, Electrical and Electronics Branch, Bureau of Standards Jamaica. Congratulations to all of you. And we invite the three previous recipients to join the ministers, Ms. Shirley, and the Permanent Secretary at the front, along with Mr. Paul Thomas, Technical Officer, Mr. Harriet Wilson, Technical Officer, Mr. Nigel Davids, Senior Technical Officer, for a photo opportunity. And while they set up, we acknowledge the participation of Mr. Clifford Grant, Technical Officer, who could not be with us this morning. And as I mentioned earlier, this accreditation is to ISO IEC 17025 2017 standard. 025 2017. And that's the international standard for all electronic, electrical, and related technologies. A round of applause. Thank you, Minister, for everyone this morning. And I now hand over to the Permanent Secretary. And as I leave, I thank you very much, Casita and Sasha, for supporting us through this part of the survey.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Reed and the team from the Bureau of Standards. Congratulations again to the Bureau of Standards. A big morning. 4 awards of accreditation today, and that adds it to your previous 4 for a total of 8. And I believe, Mrs. Shirley, I heard this morning that that's the largest number of accreditations for any one entity here in Jamaica. So a big congratulations to you. I'm going to now call on Mr. Hunston Hunter, Director of Metrology and the Testing Division at the Bureau of Standards, for his response. Mr. Hunter.
Master of Ceremonies, Mrs. Cynthia Bennett Templar, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Industry, Investment, and Commerce. Senator, the Honorable Albin Hill, Minister of Industry, Investment, and Commerce, Ministry of Industry, Investment, and Commerce. Dr. Norman Dunn, State Minister in the Ministry of Industry, Investment, and Commerce. Mr. Simon Roberts, Chairman, Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation. Mrs. Sharon May Shirley, Chief Executive Officer, Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation. Dorelis De Leon, Program Coordinator, Accredited Third Party Certification Program, United States Food and Drug Administration. Mr. Lenrod Kelly, President, Incorporated Masters Builders Association of Jamaica. Mrs. Kimisha Blake, Executive Director, Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association. Mrs. Emiga Breeze McNabb, Executive Director, Private Sector Organization of Jamaica. Other distinguished guests, pleasant morning. It is an honor to receive these awards of accreditation for the energy efficiency, cement, aggregates, and concrete and masonry testing laboratories of the BSJ. The Bureau of Standards Jamaica, by any standard, has been an agency whose quality of work, expertise, and test results are second to none in the Jamaican landscape. But they say self-praise is no recommendation. Hence, we needed a third eye, an independent body to verify the competence, performance, integrity, and quality of our personnel, processes, and results. This has been achieved through the award of accreditation from the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation. Being accredited provides formal recognition of our competence to perform specific tests using internationally recognized processes and standards, and this increases our credibility locally and internationally. Our customers can also be assured that our measurement results are accurate, precise, and traceable. Having obtained accreditation, we are proud to share that the Energy Efficiency Laboratory is recognized by CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality, that's CROSS-Q, as the Center of Excellence to conduct energy efficiency testing of refrigerators and room air conditioners. So ladies and gentlemen, we are equally elated that the construction materials testing laboratories are the first government building materials testing laboratories in the English-speaking Caribbean to attain accreditation. These achievements are indeed monumental and are the results of dedicated teamwork. My team and I express appreciation to the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation for the efficient and professional execution of the accreditation assessment of the laboratories. We remain committed to maintaining our accreditation and providing quality service to our clients. Well done, Team BSJ. Thank you, JANAAC.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hunter. And I know that you're a very proud man this morning. Thank you very much. I now call on Mrs. Simone Mills. She is a program coordinator at JANAAC to give us a vote of thanks. Ms. Mills.
Good morning, everyone. Senator, the Honorable Albin Hill, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Dr. the Honorable Dr. Norman Dunn, Minister of State in the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Mrs. Cynthia Bennett Templar, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Mr. Simon Roberts, Chairman of JANAAC Accreditation Council, and other directors of the JANAAC Accreditation Council, Ms. Dorelis De Leon, Program Coordinator, Accreditation Third-Party Certification Program with the United States Food Drug Administration. Mrs. Kamisha Blake, Executive Director, Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, Mrs. Amiga Brees McNabb, Executive Director, Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, Mr. Lenworth Kelly, President, Incorporated Master Builders Association of Jamaica, Mr. Hunston Hunter, Metrology and Testing Division, representing Dr. Velton Gooden, Executive Director of the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, and other members of Bureau of Standards, other heads of agencies, specially invited guests, members of the media, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you. I am gratified by the honor that has been extended to me in moving the vote of thanks for this morning's award ceremony. The proceedings could not have attained this success if not for the skills, creativity, planning, and execution of several interests who ensured that all celebrants were accorded fitting recognition for the attainment of JANAAC's accreditation to the ISO IEC 17025 standard. Similarly, the results may have been different if not for the unfailing drive of the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, which continues to see steady growth in the number of entities obtaining accreditation and accreditation schemes. The agency's stewardship, guided by a strong policy framework within the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, is inspiring and offers hope to the local and regional infrastructures on behalf of our consumers who demand safety and reliability. To our distinguished speakers, Ms. Dorelis De Leon, Mrs. Kamisha Blake, Mrs. Brees McNabb, and Mr. Lenworth Kelly, please accept our gratitude for gracing us with your presence, whether it be virtually or in-house, and for the valuable input you shared on behalf of your organizations. Within the broad ecosystems of partners, special recognition must be extended to our keynote speaker, Minister Aubin Hill. Minister, we are bolstered by your commitment to a continued focus on the creation of enabling environment for growth and sustainability of our industries, the promotion of exportation, investment, trade, and consumer protection. To the directors and members and staff of the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, thank you for sharing this morning event with us and for your tremendous work as you continue to do through your hardworking laboratory teams. Again, we say congratulations and wish you a great success. To its chairman, Mr. Simon Roberts, and CEO, Ms. Sharon May Shirley, the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation remains clear on its focus to build an inclusive and responsive quality infrastructure, which is suited to the needs of both present and future generations. Other members of the JANAAC Accreditation Council, staff, and assessor pool, thank you. Your work made it very possible, and I'm sure that our friends and partners joining us online would echo my sentiments of thanks and congratulations for a job well done. For your own participations made possible through Jamaica Information Service, we say thank you to our viewing audience on Zoom, JANAAC, and JIS YouTube, and the MIIC Facebook pages. Please share the stream as we keep the conversation going on accreditation and its value across all industries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mills, for your comprehensive vote of thanks. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure to be here with you this morning. You know, I no longer take for granted gatherings like this after what we have been through in the previous 2 years. And so it's a pleasure when you can see persons face to face. And I thank you so much for your presence here this morning. Accreditation presents strong opportunities for the development of a reliable and modern infrastructure. Through the use of accredited conformity assessment services, manufacturers and exporters stand to benefit from enhanced trading relations across international markets. And I think we've heard that message very clearly this morning. Consumers are equal beneficiaries through access to quality products that safeguard their health and well-being, while governments and regulators are assured of verifiable data to monitor social and economic activities insofar as their impact on environmental management and performance is concerned. I again congratulate JANAAC, the only internationally recognized accredited body in the English-speaking Caribbean, as it continues to make significant strides, providing conformity assessment bodies with the requisite tools to demonstrate conformity with international principles for conformity assessment procedures. I again also congratulate the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, who through its Aggregates, concrete and masonry units laboratory, cement testing and energy efficiency testing laboratories, have taken a bold step in this regard. The Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce is therefore pleased to join with JANAAC to say to other entities, please go out and get JANAAC accredited. Accreditation provides confidence, inspires investments, and supports economic growth. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, again for being here this morning. We do have refreshments available for you, so take the opportunity of being able to go out and have these events mingle a little bit and continue to extend congratulations to the awardees. Thank you so much. Morning.
And it would be remiss of me not to say thank you to our Master of Ceremonies, who did such a masterful job in guiding us through today's program. A round of applause for P.S. Sancia Benny Templar. Thank you, P.S. Well done. Thank you all. Refreshments are on the outside.